You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey, we're back with episode 34 of Cards to the Moon. I'm Clark, and with me is Hyung and John as usual. We are recording this episode with the NFL playoff schedule all set. So off the top, I want to ask you guys, which team do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? And which QB do you think can really boost their value if they perform well during the playoffs?
I think it's going to be interesting because I think there's a lot of possibilities to happen right here. I think a lot of people are, wanting Mahomes to kind of, finish strong and, prove the haters wrong. And I think those kind of like people like Mahomes, Brady, obviously are going to get their prices affected, right? But I think people like Kyle Murray, quarterbacks like Kyle Murray have a lot of room to grow still. If they, potentially, make it deep into the playoffs, I could see a little bump. Even guys like, Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts with the Eagles, if they, upset. Yeah, exactly. You just never know, right? And then the market goes crazy for about, less than 3 weeks, and then people buy into the hype, and then they end up holding the bag. So that's my take.
So who's your Super Bowl pick?
Oh, man. I'm going to go... That's a tough one. I don't know about picks, but I'm rooting for actually the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott's gonna turn some heads.
Good pick.
All right.
I had Dallas as my sleeper. I personally think the Super Bowl winner is gonna be. It looks like the Bucs and Dallas are gonna inevitably meet head to head. I feel like the winner of that matchup will be the Super Bowl champ. I wanted to, as a sleeper, pick Dallas because I just like the way they've kind of been rolling into the playoffs, and Dak Prescott seems like he's on his A game. But there's just something about playoff Tom Brady right now. Like in any big, meaningful game, he keeps showing up, and I can't even, at his old age, I don't think I can deny him. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be boring and pick the Bucs, but I feel like it's gonna be like Bucks Bills finals, something like that.
Bills.
Yeah, I'm picking Bills on the other side.
That's an interesting pick. All right, and how about QB? Anyone you're bullish on? Anyone you think could see a real boost in value if they do well?
Yeah, I mean, like if Dallas is a sleeper, Dak Prescott, he's a big one. Sure. I'm gonna assume with Green Bay kind of being the Vegas odds favorite. Aaron Rodgers cards in the next 7 days or so probably going to start pumping up. And then on the other side, I really think I like the way Buffalo's been rolling. So I think Josh Allen is a good pickup. Like I feel like his cards, like if they do go to the finals, obviously his card is really going to kind of blast off probably depending on if it's through him that they make it there. But regardless, I feel like a small little floor, especially after this entire year, I feel like it's a new floor in terms of investment for Josh Allen. So I really like that. I really like Josh Allen as a pick.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I like that pick too. So my Super Bowl picks, I guess it's going to kind of be boring. It's going to be Green Bay Packers. I know, are they the Vegas favorites?
I think they're the Vegas favorites. Yeah.
But you know what? Like you talk to any diehard football fan, no one believes the Packers are going to win. They always think the Packers choke during the playoffs, but I think this year is going to be different. I think Rodgers is playing with a chip on his shoulder, especially with the whole vaccination issue and people turning on him. And I think he's just like angry, and angry Rodgers is pretty dangerous. Yeah. And he has the best wide receiver in Devontae Adams in the league, so that's going to be hard to stop. And for me, the QB pick, I think it's Joe Burrow. Like Cincinnati, he was my kind of sleeper pick before the season started, like him coming off the injury. And then Burrow did amazing this season, got his team to the playoffs. And if they could get past the first round, and with any sport playoff format where it's one and done. Anything could happen, right? Like you just need one good game to get to the next one, and then you just build momentum. So I think Burrow has a lot to gain if he even gets past to the second round.
Right.
So, all right, we'll find out in February who will win the Super Bowl. But for now, let's move on to hobby headlines. Okay, today's hobby headlines topic is apparently pretty contentious. John, you mentioned Jared, a friend of the podcast, brought to your attention a long thread on Blowout forums debating specifically which Wander Franco baseball card is his true rookie card or his flagship rookie. There's a long thread on Twitter asking this very same question. And there's a long article on Beckett.com with their interpretation of what constitutes a true rookie card. So before we dive in, I just want to provide a bit of context. This question seemed to arise because of the 2021 Bowman's Best set that came out, which includes prospects as part of their base set. So in other words, prospects aren't in the set as inserts with a different numbering system on the back, right? It's such a small change, but it's enough for some people to consider these prospect cards are now the flagship rookie. Beckett is in that boat because it meets their criteria, and their criteria is, one, that the rookie card, quote unquote, is a base card, so it's not an insert. Two, it comes from a set that includes veterans, so that would mean essentially no card from the Bowman draft boxes, for instance, which consists of all prospects and draft picks, will be considered a rookie card. And third, the set has to have wide distribution. So that pretty much eliminates those print-on-demand sets like Topps Now or Panini Instant, which comes out with those cards as soon as they're called up, right? So for Beckett, the 2021 Bowman's Best release meets all those criteria, and thus Wander Franco will receive the rookie card tag in their books, even without the RC logo, which I know is contentious as well. And many collectors will argue for that reason alone, it isn't a rookie card. So I spoke enough. So first things first, do you guys consider the Wander Franco card in 2021 Bowman's Best his flagship rookie, or will it be the one that's released in 2022 Topps Series 1 or another set?
Can I ask a question? Is the Bowman's Best release, it's a major league release, right? It's not a prospect release?
It's a major league release, yes.
Yeah.
It's a major league product, right?
Both veterans and rookies, and in this case prospects as well.
Got it. Okay.
I don't think it's a rookie card. I think Topps intended that as well. If they intended it to be a rookie card, they would have put the rookie logo. Not saying that that does dictate a rookie card, because in the past, you have iconic cards that don't have rookie cards as well. That does not dictate. But I think Topps' intention wasn't to include Wander Franco as like that. That's his, flagship rookie card. Because if you look at the past, and I always say, history repeats itself, and you could get comparables from the past. You look at Acuna. He had 2017 a Bowman prospect card. I know the numbering's different because that's the whole point that Beckett was trying to make, that the numbered makes it kind of like a flagship. But if you look at future stars such as Acuna, Tatis, and Vladdy, they all have cards from the previous year before their true rookie card. So in 2019, that would have been Vlad's rookie. He has a 2018 Bowman's Best. And it's a top prospects kind of like insert more so than kind of like a base card, but it's still a base card. And they sell for, a decent amount. I wouldn't say that's their overwhelming sales, but they do sell. So I think there is value in that, but I don't believe that's the true rookie card. There's different cases such as like Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto, where there's a lack of cards, and if you notice that their rookie cards, they're in 2018, their Bowman's Best is in 2018 as well, where it's kind of like, to me that would be maybe considered more valuable because you're in that same year and they didn't have cards previously, right? And then you look at you think of Wander Franco's cards. His Bowman prospect card is in 2019 Bowman. So he's had numerous cards leading up to that. In 2020, even 2019 Bowman Draft, Bowman Chrome, 2020 throughout the year, and now 2021, right? So I don't think there's anything special with this Wander card, in my opinion. I still think it will sell because it only takes people to, think it. As long as people think it, there's always going to be a buyer who feels that there's value towards that. But based on previous sets, I feel like, people are going to gravitate towards, obviously, his Topps Series 1 card and also his Topps Chrome, which should be the flagship image of his Topps Series 1. And then you got your Topps Chrome Sapphire at the end of the year, right? So for me, I believe those are going to be his, really desired rookie cards, and obviously his Topps Chrome Rookie Auto. And it's going to be crazy, I think, because it's so difficult to buy his prospect, his first Chrome cards right now. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Wander issue. History tells itself, it repeats itself. The only difference with Wander's card is it has number 50 instead of BD whatever variation, right? So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Hyung's dead on in saying that it wasn't. I don't think this was Topps's intention for it to be a rookie card. Like it's pretty clear to almost everybody in the hobby that Topps is purposely leaving Wander Franco out of anything 2021 to make kind of like. In my opinion, personally, I think they're just trying to really juice up 2022 product. But for me, I think it is his rookie. I'm gonna go the other way because it's a major league product. It's a base card, and it's his rookie year. Like I think everything lines up. Now, does that mean this is going to be the rookie card that everybody wants? I don't think it's even the rookie card that I want because I love seeing the RC logo. It's come to be a thing that I like to see on rookie cards, right? Like Hyung, you mentioned, like we get upset at the blank slate insert because they don't have the rookie logos on there, right? So for me, it's a thing. Like it doesn't mean that I'm going to chase this card. Doesn't mean that it's like the card to go to. But is it his rookie card? Yeah, I think this is his first. Whether Topps intended or not, it looks like this is his first major league card. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be it's like the better than the flagship or better than the flagship Chrome. But I think this will have enough conversation, enough juice to make the Wander Franco, like Hyung kind of mentioned, it'll make the Wander Franco Bowman's Best a little bit more desirable or valuable than, Tatis Bowman's Best or Guerrero Bowman's Best, which really didn't mean nothing in the past. I think this one now carries some cachet because of this conversation. So if somebody thinks that this is like a play here, it could be like a really super underrated play. I don't blame them because I think there is going to be a small handful, a percentage of the hobby that views this as the true, quote unquote, like technical first rookie card. So yeah, my 2 cents.
I don't have a strong position either way because for me, I even considered his first Bowman Chrome Auto his rookie card, and people always message me every once in a while. It's like, dude, that's not a rookie card. It's a prospect card. There's people passionate about not calling the first Bowman Chrome cards a rookie card. So, right. But, on every eBay listing, you're going to see rookie card on his first Bowman Chrome, right? And people just see that that's the major rookie card, quote unquote. So at the end of the day, to your points, guys, like it doesn't really matter. Like it's whatever people like. It's just a fun kind of debate to have. It's fun to read everyone's opinion on it because everyone seems to have an opinion on it, and it's a passionate opinion too, right? On whatever side you're landing on. But I don't know. Well, I guess in terms of value, like the market will ultimately decide. I tend to agree with you, John. I think because of this debate and this discussion, Wander Franco's Bowman's Best card might have more value, relatively speaking, compared to other Bowman's Best rookies in previous years. But at the same time, how long does that last? Like, what's the percentage of the hobby that's paying attention to this small change of numbering that's causing this huge debate? Maybe in 10 years, it's so much easier just to look for the RC logo and say, oh, that, of course, that's his rookie card. But no one cares about the whole numbering fiasco that we're discussing right now, right?
Right.
But yeah, I would love I personally like Bowman's Best. Like I ripped a box a few years ago, right? And love the on-card autos, and they look nice.
I will say it's such an underrated set. Like right now, the release right now is 2021 Bowman's Best, and there are great on-card autos. We were talking about this earlier with John. I think the value is there. It's a fun rip. There's a lot of chances to pull on-card autos of even superstars. I know Trout, Ohtani, Miggy Cabrera, all those guys are in there, including the top prospects of 2021 from Bowman, Luis Rodriguez, Christian Hernandez, all those guys as well. So I think it's a great affordable rip, and it's one of those things where just like Stadium Club Chrome, all the hobbyists and the true hobbyists really like the product, right? So I think that's important, and I kind of hope it stays that way, because I don't like when people just because a lot of people just want the first Chrome and everybody's fighting over it. Right. Meanwhile, the Bowman's Best or Stadium Club Chrome never gets love, but then you want a cheap fun rip, and sometimes you pull some crazy cards out of those, and it makes ripping that much enjoyable. So
yeah
totally agree. Hyung, you said it. The bottom line is that it's awesome to see that Bowman's Best is getting love here beyond, the debate, right? So it deserves it, man. Bowman's Best, it's a classic.
So I want to ask you, Hyung, you mentioned that you don't consider Bowman's Best, Wander Franco's Bowman's Best card, his rookie.
Right.
So moving forward then, especially with Fanatics buying Topps, so we kind of have that security that the Topps brand's going to hang around now.
For sure.
Do you think the rookie card of any player will only come, the flagship rookie I'm talking about, will only come from Topps Series 1, Series 2, or Update, whatever set they come in?
I think for the most part, because it's spread out throughout the season, and obviously you're going to have your Bowman Chrome releases as well. So it's like it's a mixture of prospect and your major league players. So I think obviously Wander Franco is going to have a Bowman Chrome rookie that's not as desired as Topps Chrome rookie. It's just the way it is, and I think they're going to keep it that way because you don't want to overflow it. They overflow it with the products, the niche products that like the stadium clubs and all the other smaller subsets that come in between that will have the Wander Franco options, the smaller cards of him, Topps Finest and stuff like that, right? But 100%, I think it's going to be Topps Series 1 and Topps Chrome. To be honest, is your go-to, what you're looking for.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way.
So stupid question is the history behind the word flagship, because that's a relatively newer term, right? Like in the last 10, 15 years. The history of the word flagship, is it pertaining to the first major league appearance card, or is it pertaining to the first major Topps appearance?
I personally see it as the first Topps major release.
Topps, because that's what's kind of become. But when the original purpose of that term, was it in regards to like the first appearance major league rookie card, or
that
has it always been?
It's been, I don't know, it's been used, thrown around the hobby, and everybody talks about
Morphed.
it. The biggest debate I've heard on flagship was the Acuña's rookie, because it's like the Series 2 bat down versus the US 250 bat up, right? Where the US 250 is an update and it's printed in masses, whereas a Series 2 bat down is the flagship, right? Because it's the first release of a major Topps Series 2. It's numbered at 700 or whatever the number is, and it contains all the checkpoints that kind of Beckett talked about in their article of what determines kind of like that, I guess, rookie card, right? So I would,
yeah. I mean,
I'm with Hyung. I'm with Hyung though. I think going forward, it's still gonna stay. Topps flagship will be like whatever comes out of the Topps Series 1, Series 2, or Update. Like that's the go-to card.
Yeah. Well, I can see how it's confusing, right? With the new sets coming out, like the number of product that's coming out in recent years. It's crazy. So it's I wish sometimes it was like simpler times in the vintage baseball card collecting days where it's just one set, the first card, that's his rookie set. But But I like just to add another point, and I think you guys mentioned it already. It doesn't mean, even if a lot of people don't consider Bowman's Best his rookie card, if they consider something else entirely, it doesn't mean it won't have value. Because the one good example I heard or I read about was Mickey Mantle, right? His 1952.
Yeah, the Bowman.
His second year
Topps
card
versus the 51 Bowman.
Exactly, yeah. 51 Bowman versus Topps 52. And, arguably the Topps 52 is more iconic and has more value. But, some people still think it's probably his rookie card, but technically it's his Bowman 51.
Right.
And
yeah.
But that was another interesting point I read about. So we'll see. I'm sure the debate is still raging on. If I go back to the thread, I'm sure it's like another 5 pages deep than what it was before.
Yeah.
But people are adamant. It's so funny. It's like, no, it's not from Top Series 1 to our update. It's not a rookie card.
All right.
Yeah.
Zero exceptions.
And that's why I always said, like, if you look at the history, like if you look at like Soda and Ohtani's Bowman Best, those are very, very valuable, meaning their resale value right now, the markets, it's tough to obtain at a reasonable price, is because that becomes the option. Whereas like Vlad, Acuna, Tatis, and I'll put even Wander in it because they've released so many cards already. There's so many options at that point, right? So they don't retain that value because there's just a lot more options. So what I could go back to 2021 Bowman Chrome too. That was when he made his debut, but he has a Bowman Chrome card where, that came out before Bowman's Best, and it doesn't have a rookie logo. The only difference between that card and the Bowman Best card is it says number 50 versus a BCP number, or whatever it may be, right? So for me, it's like, and then you look back at 2020, he has a card there too. And for me, it's like when collectors look back and see that there were a lot of options at that time where it wasn't a situation between like Soto, for instance. 2018 Soto, Bowman's Best sells really, really well because what are your other options? It's the limited rookie options, as well as kind of like Ohtani's in that same situation, right? So that's where I feel like it could hold its value depending on, if the demand is there. But Wander kind of goes into that category of Vladdy and just having way too many cards, I think. Right. And I think 2022 is not going to be any different. They're going to pump a lot of options for Wander as well. And then you're going to have a flood of Wander Franco. But I think his Bowman, the 2019 prices will sustain itself. I think that's the biggest supply demand monster. And his Topps Chrome and Topps Chrome Auto are going to be out the roof.
Yeah, agree.
Agreed.
All right. I guess can't wait to hear the feedback that we get from after this episode airs from either side. It's telling us we're right or we're wrong, but good debate nonetheless. Okay, so we haven't done this next segment in a while, but I thought we would bring it back for this episode, and it's called Fast Five. So in Fast Five, I'm going to list 5 cards for you guys, and you tell me if you're buying or if you're selling. And the list I have comes from Beckett.com. In a recent article they published, putting out or listing the top 21 cards to be released in 2021, last year. Not in terms of value, but more in terms of what left a lasting impression on the hobby. Okay, so they listed 21, but I'm just going to list the top 5, and I'm going to count in reverse order, starting with 5. All right, and then you tell me if you guys are buying or recommending to sell for anyone that has these cards. So number 5. The 2020-21 Panini Prizm LeBron James, number 1. So we talked about this last episode. It's the Kobe dunk tribute. That card obviously got a lot of attention. It comes to number 5 on the Beckett list. What do you guys think? Buying or selling?
I'm a buy. I think with the $204,000 sale of the parallel, I think everything follows after that. It's an iconic card just because of that sale. And right now the base cards are pretty cheap. I think floating around a PSA 10 is going for about $200. I think as time goes by, it's going to be one of those cards that a lot of LeBron collectors want. And yeah, I think it's going to hold its value because of that iconic sale of $204,000.
Okay. John?
I'm a sell. And
LeBron hater.
I agree. I actually agree. I knew that was coming. I actually agree with you guys that it will become an iconic card, if not already. and it's actually a really good long-term investment. I agree. But I say sell because there's just not enough population right now. I don't think, other than the big boys like a gold or gold wave, like those numbered cards, there aren't many that have really gone to PSA, right? So as PSA starts to lower their, their prices, and let's say in 2022 they go to $50, you are going to see tons of these come out of the woodworks. And I think right now you're paying whatever, like $1,200, $1,500 for the silver. Like I could see by the end of the year, like that card coming down even more. So I think there is going to be a time to buy it. I just don't think right now. I think because of the PSA halt and all of the high pricing, there's just the population is not out there yet. So I would caution people of like jumping headfirst into this.
Okay. I think I'm a buy as well, but I agree that it's more of a long-term play. I read actually we put out a poll on 5 Card Guys about whether the 204,000 sale of the gold Prizm PSA 9 of this card was a good buy or if it was insane. And overwhelmingly, the poll says it was an insane purchase, right?
Nice.
I think it was not even close, right? But like 85 to 15%. But I like one of the comments was that this is probably LeBron James' best Lakers card, like best looking Lakers card, arguably. And I tend to agree with that. You look at his first Lakers card where he just kind of looks like he's just dribbling out the ball. That's pretty boring.
Optics nice.
Optics nice as well. The dunk.
The dunk's nice. Yeah.
That's nice
Oh
too.
yeah, the optic
but
one's nice.
But this is Prizm, right? So the brand carries. But I would agree with that. So there's definitely, I see a definitely long-term value, especially with the parallels. So I'm a buy. And
well, think about this. I saw the LeBron Gold Wave PSA 10. I think it sold for like $7,000, $8,000. So you're telling me the true gold PSA 9 is whatever 1,000x, whatever the math is on that, versus the gold wave? That something's off. So anyways.
I would love to have the gold wave at that price rather than the pure gold.
Right? Yeah, it's still gold color. Yeah, like the Laker color match. Like I would totally take that at $7,000, and it's a PSA 10.
Agree with you there. All right. Number 4 on their list was the 2021 Absolute Kaboom of Mac Jones.
I'm a sell. I think it's overpriced. Like I just don't see huge swings with Mac Jones' card price. I think you've seen it, and for me, it's like he's 23 years old and he's a rookie, and he still has a lot of seasons to play before we start spending thousands. I think they're in the Kaboom Raws are going for a couple grand maybe raw. I didn't check prices, but I would assume. Yeah, I'd assume that the raw prices are pretty healthy, and and Kaboom's popular right now, so I'm a sell. I think it's a great time to sell and profit off that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, easy sell. The product is too new. You guys know the drill. Whenever you have a brand new product, you're selling right away, and you're buying back into it maybe 6 to 12 months down the road. And Mac Jones, I don't know. Like I don't see him as. Seems like he's a very solid quarterback with a pretty decent future, but do you really pump thousands of dollars into like a pretty solid, decent quarterback? I don't think so. I'd rather take those thousands of dollars and put it into an Aaron Rodgers Topps Chrome right now, right? So, it's an easy sell.
It's an easy sell sweep, I guess, for me as well. Yeah. So I won't belabor the point. Other than to say, watch the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year. And then
exactly. Exactly. We eat our words, right? That's the only way. But they might not get past the first round. But anyways.
That's true. All right. Number 3, 2020 Panini National Treasures Justin Herbert Rookie Auto Patch. Number to 99.
It's a sell for me as well. I think it's just like, I mean, we're talking about, $40,000-$50,000, card in a BGS 9 or whatever. I just think it's way too expensive for him this early. I know that's what prices dictate in the National Treasures brand, but I just think that and I think he's a buy in the offseason, to be honest. I think Herbert's a great buy. I think he has a very bright future ahead of him, but I just think I'd wait a bit and see and if that investment is still viable and a little higher buy-in price after he accomplishes a few things, I think that's when I'd go in, pay a little more for a little more security. I think, yeah, he just has to do more in his career for him to justify those prices.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a sell too. I think NT we're talking big boys, right? If you're gonna spend $50, $100, $150,000, like for me, you better damn be sure of the investment. And look at Herbert, man. Like he was heralded as the next elite of the elite. And even just in this year, I think he had a pretty solid season, but all of a sudden people are like, no, man, Herbert's not the guy. It's Joe Burrow. Like, he's the guy. Like, we all believed in Joe from the beginning. What are you talking about? Like, literally, like 6 months ago, everyone was like, Herbert's the guy, man. He's like the future. You want to see like next Mahomes? Like, this is the guy, right? So all of a sudden, people are saying Burrow. So, I still think for guys like Burrow and Herbert, they're only 1 year removed from this rookie, right? Like, everybody kind of knows the pattern. Years 1 to 3 there's still a lot of hype. And I think it's still, to spend that kind of crazy money, I would personally wait another year, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, to see really where these guys are settling in terms of like their, possibly Hall of Fame trajectory or career. See if that's happening. And by year 4, I think that's when you can start to spend some big money. But it's gambling. I mean, if you're paying this kind of dollar right now, this is like the Hyung territory where you're banking on the volatility, right? You're going to put in 50 and you're banking that he wins the Super Bowl next year and it goes to like 500,000, right? So, yeah, I'm a sell. It's still a little bit too risky for me.
No, I agree. It's a sell for me. I think the prices right now are already baked in, the hype of Herbert. Right. And actually, I'm with you, Hyung. Like, I'm always checking to see if the Herbert prices are going down, because he didn't make the playoffs this year, and I'm pretty bullish on Herbert as a quarterback, as a talented quarterback. Right. So I'm hoping in a way for his prices to dip to kind of get in on some Herbert in the off season.
I think you'll see it. Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, and if there is one, then I'm all aboard. But if you check now, especially with the big name cards like National Treasures, it's still super pricey. So definite sell. All right, number 2 on the list, 2020 Topps Chrome Formula 1 Lewis Hamilton, number 1 card.
I need a buy button so I can ring it over and over and over and over and over again, because a Pop 200 card at $550, that's what it closed at. A Topps Chrome PSA 10. And for me, I mean, Pop 200, and we've all talked about F1 and the future of F1, and and I think it's just way too cheap for a Topps Chrome product, especially what boxes are fetching these days. And I think there's a lot more opportunity to grow with those cards, because sapphires, that are commanding, triple the prices of the base right now, but the populations are not that far off, right? We're used to the whole baseball, Topps Chrome going to have 5,000-10,000. Luis Robert has, incredible amounts, right? And you compare that Topps Chrome to like a Lewis Hamilton, right? So at Pop 200 at $550, I think that could really shoot up really quick. So I'm a buy, and I'm constantly a buy. I think if you get a refractor as well, any color, I think that's going to be a lot more challenging and a lot more expensive for the price point. I'm actually liking base in this play. Yeah.
You guys know me. I said it last week. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, so I'm going to buy here. But I can't help but continue to think about F1. I'm still not 100% crazy about F1. There's still a part of me, like a 20% in my brain, kind of thinks, is this still a fad? Like, what's really going to happen? Like, what happens when Formula 1 2022 comes out? Like, Formula 1 is not like baseball or basketball. There's not like a rookie class year in, year out where it's just like replenishing the hype, right? Like, are there going to be more rookies next year? I don't know. Like, you guys know how F1 works? Like, I don't know if there's going to be any more big names, because it's usually once you make these rosters, like when you make it the to the sponsorship level, like you're there. Like there's not going to be any rookies that kind of come in year in year out. So, it makes me curious. Like, is the F1 hype because the season was so awesome, or was it the chase was so awesome in terms of the hobby? What happens to that chase next year when the product is not as desirable? Like everything you're going after is second years of Verstappen, quote unquote second years of Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton and all that stuff. Does that make it, does that deflate it a little bit? I don't know, right? So I'm still a little hesitant overall, but in terms of like the first release of Chrome, Lewis Hamilton, I think that's rock solid out of anything. So I'm a buy on it.
Okay. Yeah, I said LeBron James, the number 5 card, was a long-term buy. I think Lewis Hamilton's a short-term buy for me for sure. And I agree with you with all those points that you mentioned, John. I don't know where F1's going. I'm not that knowledgeable about F1, other than I know that's very popular right now. Netflix is pouring a lot of money into the sport right now, so the marketing is there. So definitely in terms of the short term, especially for 2022 going into 2023, yeah, I think there will be a demand for Topps Chrome Formula One cards, and especially with Hyung mentioning how low the pop is and how much PSA 10s are going for, that's a buy for sure at this price point. So yeah, for me it's a short term buy to see if I could do a quick flip and then kind of gauge where F1 goes as a sport in the future. But you're right. The other thing that F1 has going for it doesn't really have an off season, right? It's starting up in March again, so a lot of attention will always be on it constantly. All right. And number 1 on their list, unsurprisingly, is the 2020-21 Panini National Treasures again of LaMelo Ball rookie auto patch, number 299.
It's the same thing. It's the same thought process to sell. It's just you're messing with fire at that point, And hey, LaMelo might have a great career, right? But that's what you're sitting on. You're gonna sit with that card. Just watching him, and if he accomplishes great things, then yeah, it would be the best time of your life. But I think in order to invest that kind of money in a card like that, you're gonna have to win some championships, win some MVPs, and then I think the investment's there. But I could also see the opportunity as well. So for me, at that kind of level, I'm definitely a sell, but I could see other people's perspective on why it's so attractive, right? Because you could make some big time coin off of it,
for sure.
But yeah, sell.
By the way, did you guys see that? I think it was on Instagram video of the guy ripping open NT packs to get NT boxes to get the LaMelo. Oh my gosh! And it was almost like
2 cases, right?
Yeah, like it was great to see him get it, but at the same time, you watch it and
you got to read the comments.
Wow. Oh, really?
The comments.
Yeah, it made me feel queasy, man. I was like, man, this guy's like looks like he's ripping it open like you're like ripping open like crap boxes, like literally just shredding it, going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throwing it on the ground.
I think that was the issue with a lot of people. They were so taken back at how he was just chasing. It had nothing to do with enjoying.
Right.
He was treating the cards right, like the way he was, but. To each their own, right?
I know. Like it was almost like you're just watching a gambleaholic like in action. It felt almost sad to watch it. Like he hit it eventually, so you're happy for the guy, but I was like, oh man, this feels weird.
I can't blame him. I kind of sometimes do that when I'm going through Bowman cards that I'm like, I don't care about these base cards. Where's my color, right?
Yeah.
Guilty.
Oh man. Anyways, aside from that, I'm with Hyung. Sell. It's exact same thing like the Herbert situation. Like I am just not that kind of big money. I'm not big on spending huge money on anyone in years 1 to 3 until you start to really see something. Unless like it's your favorite person to watch. He's like your new like I love watching LaMelo. He's the guy. Then as like a collector, for your personal collection or whatever, like collect what you love, right? And I can say that for myself in terms of like Luka Doncic. So I can be eating my own words, but generally years 1 to 3, like it's such a dangerous game, man. Like, tell me where the NT patches of like Donovan Mitchell are, or Jason Tatum, or Damian Lillard. Like they're up there, but these guys are not the super sexy names they were when they first kind of showed up, right? Like once you kind of get into years 4, 5, 6, 7, you kind of get forgotten, even though you're still playing like legitimate elite basketball, right? So that kind of worries me to spend like this kind of crazy money and you haven't really seen year 4 of LaMelo or year 5 or year 6. So I could see it as a buy if you're the gambler type to really like kind of short-term supreme flip this. But if you're thinking LaMelo long-term, this guy's a Hall of Famer, like I don't think it's time to jump on these yet. Yeah, I will say sell.
Okay. And that's another sell sweep for the same reasons of Herbert. And I don't know, people might really disagree with me on this, but I think Anthony Edwards is more fun to watch anyways. And he's a better value right now.
Yeah, way better value than... But
yeah, his prices are coming up though, man.
Right.
His Prizms are going down though, so I've been keeping an eye.
Is it?
Yeah. So it depends on the set. Yeah, the higher end ones I think are going up. I think his gold Prizms on Golden sold last week for a ridiculous amount. But his silver Prizms are coming down a bit, so it might be a good buy. But for LaMelo, this is a big risk, and the price is already baked in, kind of like Herbert. Right. So
yeah, agreed.
All right, nice. Let's finish this episode then with our weekly segment that we call Pick One. And it's our hot takes edition this week, where we give 2 hot takes and then we each debate which we think is more likely to happen. All right, let's get Hyung starting.
Let's go.
The segment off.
Let's go. I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. I don't think not as much as John, but okay. I'm going to say for my first hot take, I'm going to say Foresnic Card Grading because they're getting so much love / hate from everybody. And I've submitted my first submission to just, as a customer, experience what it's all about, right? So Foresnic Card Grading becomes the next respected grading company in the industry to fill the void of BGS. So that's scenario 1, okay? Versus SGC Gold Label. So the Pristine, SGC 10 Pristine. Gold Label surpasses BGS 10 Pristines in price, in value. So they're probably going for a bit under BGS 10 price, if not on some cards, even with BGS 10s now. So will SGC Gold, now that more people are submitting, surpass that BGS 10 price point?
And this is not Black Label, right?
This is not Black Label BGS. That's a different ball game. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Dang. I will say that as a hot take, I think both could happen. But I'm going to pick SGC Gold Label first. Like, I think the odds of that happening first is definitely higher. FCG, I don't know as much about it either, but I know, like, Hyung invited me to the Facebook group. I've been watching, like, the support that they've been getting, they've been on a roll. Like, every person that's graded with them, like, super high compliments, like, super happy with the submissions. There's no questions. They're, like, fully accountable. They're, like, they show everything that they do in terms of the grading process. So I think they've gotten off to, like, a very great, not flashy, like, very, grassroots organic growth. They've done a great job. And I think they do have a chance to make some noise here, but it's still going to take, like, BGS, as much as we harp on them, they're still a big boy, man, in terms of grading. Like, they're one of the big companies. So to get on that level, it's going to take a lot of work. And I just don't see it happening anytime soon. So for that reason, I think it's an easy pick in the SGC Gold Label surpassing, because that could actually happen. As much as I still think it's going to still be some time, but yeah, SGC is gaining a lot of steam, so it could happen pretty soon. Yeah.
No, I like this pick one because it's really asking us how we feel about BGS, right? How much do we not believe Beckett, or how much do we have faith in Beckett reviving? But I'm going with SGC Gold Label is going to surpass BGS 10 Pristine. I mean, even just looking at one personally, Hyung, you got a SGC 10 gold label on one of your cards, right?
They're not easy to come by, I tell you that. Yeah.
It's not easy to come by, yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks amazing. Like the gold
Right.
label itself looks amazing in their slabs, right? So
yeah, for sure.
So the look of it's good, and already has a reputation that they're just not giving out SGC 10 gold labels left, right, and center. So when you do get one, it's special, and I think it has that kind of prestige to it already. And I just see SGC growing even more so. Like in the last episode, I mentioned their grading company, I think, took the biggest leap forward in 2021, and I think that momentum carries through. So for that reason, I think the SGC 10 gold label is going to surpass BGS 10. But that's a hot take, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I think I submitted a SGC submission recently, and the process was honestly absolutely flawless. Out of all the submissions I've submitted from all grading companies, by far SGC was actually the best experience I've had ever with a grading company. In terms of, forget the grades, it's just communication with the customer, knowing what's going on. Cards were actually graded in about a month, and back in. They actually even included a customs letter explaining the nature of their business, so that we don't get charged any extra duties for that, which I thought was very, very thoughtful.
Cool. Yeah.
And the way they presented it, the opening experience, was top notch. And more so, I think people don't realize the photos don't do it justice, SGC slabs justice, until you have them actually in your hand. So I do believe I've submitted with SGC, and I think they are the up and coming as well. They're doing well. I just don't think they're going to surpass BGS in terms of price point, because I feel like it's the perfect gap between a PSA 10 and a BGS 10. I think it splits it perfectly, and it fills that gap. And a SGC 10 kind of is equivalent. You guys got to remember, SGC 10 is considered gem mint. A 9.5 isn't, whereas BGS 9.5 is a gem mint. So. Right. And SGC 10 sells for about a BGS 9.5, right? So the value actually is surprisingly picked up with SGC on some of the kind of like more bigger cards. But with all that said, I'm gonna actually say Foresnic Card Grading becomes the next respected grading company. And the reason why I say this, and I know they've got a lot of bad press, and I'm gonna say it outright, that was unjustified, I think, because for me, I've seen this company go from ground zero, and kind of their intention and the need for kind of like having a transparent grading company that is affordable, that I can grade my cards for less than $25 a slab, right? And for me, I just need to know the grade, so that when I do eBay transactions, I know there's no funny businesses, no swap cards. I know what I'm selling. People know what they're getting. If they, decide to, crack it and submit to PSA 10 because, their subgrades popped well and they only paid like $25 for it, then great. There's extreme value there. The problem with right now, and a lot of people are, experiencing this, is it's either SGC right now at that price point or nothing else. And the problem with subgrades is you get a 9.5 SGC, you kind of really don't know what you get, right? So I that's why I actually like BGS, because of their subgrades, because you actually kind of have a good idea of what the card is. But at that $250 price point, there's nothing to fill that void right now in the service that I need. Right? I'm not saying I'm sending every single card there, but it fills a void that is needed in the industry. And for me, that enough is a strong enough reason to believe in a company, because when you see their operations and see the customers, and you actually become a customer and experience that whole kind of like experience of the grading process, and then it leaves a good kind of feeling about it. And for me, has nothing to do with the resale value. I care less about the resale value. I want to know what my cards are, right? So that I could make the right moves in terms of my collection. And for me, like FCG kind of fits all those kind of check marks, and their slabs do look great, right? So for me, it's needed in the industry. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. But I believe that before anything, and this is a super hot take because they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do, but I think they're going to fill that void that's needed, right? And I've submitted a 50 card submission to SGC, and I submitted a 50 card to FCG, and both were needed. I handpicked each one for each company because I felt that was the best move kind of for me and my collection, right? So I'm going to go with the other side of the hot take and say FCG is going to become the next respected grading company to fill the void of BGS because I've become a customer.
I can see that though. I can see that.
Yeah. The problem with your thought process is like 99% of the hobby cares about the values of their cards as they send it to grading, which is the unfortunate part.
For
right?
sure.
That's
And
why,
that's
why
what
everyone
I mean.
sends the PSA, right?
But that's when they lose money. They realize when they don't get a PSA 9 or better, right?
Yeah.
They were better off just submitting to FCG in the first place and then selling it for cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, it doesn't make any sense if that's the justification, because then you're just gambling with PSA. PSA 10 is not guaranteed that you're going to get a PSA 10. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And that's assuming that all cards are going to PSA 10. But then if they PSA 9, where's the losing point at that grading cost is what I'm saying. But at $25, you're basically 1 out of every 4 cards compared to PSA 10s. Right. So for me, that's just the justification side of kind of like, because I weigh out my option. Should I send this to, FCG or PSA? It doesn't make sense if it PSA 9s. Absolutely it doesn't. And if I see that it does, then there's zero value in sending it to PSA, right? If I'm looking for value, straight up value. And that's what people do, this is how they lose money.
Yeah. I personally, on a personal level, I do hope that they gain a lot of steam because the price point to also get subgrades.
Right.
I mean, it's awesome, man. So even to know what a professional thinks of the subgrades of that card that you're sending in, like that's a lot of value even at that price point. So you're right.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Good one.
Wow, good one. Okay. So since we talked about this in hobby headlines, I'm going to stick with the program. The hobby, this is kind of going back to hobby logic, but the hobby will accept the 2021 Bowman's Best Wander Franco as his first true Major League rookie card, or the hobby will accept Topps Dynasty as the flawless NT of baseball. Now, we all know Topps Dynasty. Like, I personally think, like, completely unbiased point of view, like just looking at the cards, the design, the patches, the autos, I think they're beautiful, but the hobby thinks they're like complete trash, right? And the baseball, baseball is one of the finickiest of hobby spaces. You got so many old school collectors that are like stubborn right to the end about their values and beliefs. And I really, anyways, I'll get into it after, but just some context on Topps Dynasty. I know we talked about the Wander Franco. So what do you guys think in terms of hot takes? Like, hobby will accept the Wander Franco as a true rookie, or the hobby will accept Topps Dynasty as sort of like the true baseball version of flawless NT?
Go for it, Clark.
How much does Topps Dynasty go for? Is it a high end?
Some are.
I think some can get up there, but I think isn't it like $400 or $500 a box, and it just comes with the one card.
It's a 1 card box, right? Yeah,
it's a 1 card. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going with Topps Dynasty will be accepted as the NT. I think it's supposed to be. I think that was the intention of Topps, to make Dynasty one of their more elite, more higher end cards. That experience of just ripping a box and getting one really nice card. And yeah, sure, the hobby might not see it as prestigious as NT, or the look of it is not as prestigious as NT, but I think Topps can make it better somehow. Listen to some feedback and still keep that Topps Dynasty product line year after year. So there's improvement that can be there, right? And when you compare it to our debate on Wander Franco, I mentioned I don't really have a strong position either way, but I just think it will be easier for the hobby to recognize Top Series 1, 2, and Update as a rookie card, and to explain why others consider Bowman's Best as a true rookie card. I don't know if we're going to have that debate in even next year or the year after, and it's just going to be a moot point. So I think, maybe both are not as likely to happen, but I think the Topps Dynasty is closer to reality than Wander Franco's Bowman's Best being the true rookie.
Hey, Hyung, is Topps Transcendent bigger than Dynasty?
I wouldn't say bigger. It's a lot more expensive. It's the most ridiculous, expensive, overpriced set that ever existed with a terrible resale value. It's like the worst of the worst worlds. So I'm gonna go actually with Clark on this as well. It's like, I think when 2022 Bowman's Best Wander Franco with the rookie card logo comes out, people are going to forget this whole conversation existed, right? So it's like, I mean, for me, you're right. Like, how Topps Dynasty has not marketed that product to be their number one product, it boggles my mind. And maybe with the helps of Fanatics, being able to actually market product properly, right? Because Topps was limited to what they know, and they really don't. I wouldn't call them a marketing company. They just kind of fulfill the demand that's kind of just in the industry. I think potentially, the Topps Dynasty brand, or maybe they rebrand it, but they use the same RPA style as basketball essentially, and go hard on it in baseball, and those should be the most valuable cards, right? So it's like, I could see that actually happening, and I hope one day it does, because I do like that element. I do like the looks of those cards, and they look expensive as well. So I just don't buy into the whole Bowman's Best Wander Franco. I just think it's just going to be a regular card for everybody else as well. It's going to sell. Like I said, it's going to have value, because obviously there's going to be a limited print run. As long as people just believe that it holds that value, people will buy it, right? So I'm going to go Topps Dynasty though.
Nice. You can tell by the way I was talking which way I'm going to lean. This was an unfair. I'll admit it was an unfair 1v1, because I just wanted to shed light on how much I think Topps Dynasty is underrated, and I couldn't put it up against anything. I'm like, what the heck am I going to put this up against? So it's a little bit unfair, I'll admit, but I'm going to go with Dynasty because I think it's really underrated, and I think a lot of it, Topps marketing and all that stuff, like Hyung mentioned, that's a portion of it. But I also think the hobby, especially the baseball crowd, can be really fickle and really stubborn in their ways, right? And the baseball crowd is Bowman's first autos, color, like that's the shiz, like that's the big boy, right? Whereas in other sports, basketball, football, it's like NT-RPAs at second is flawless RPAs. Like those are the big boys. And baseball obviously doesn't take off because flawless is unlicensed, so it's not as awesome. But then you look at Topps Dynasty, and I don't see why. Like, they're beautiful, they're big patches, they're RPAs, like 2019 Tatis. I think I saw like a BGS 910 go for like 3,200. Like that's like peanuts.
Yeah, I think those are great long-term
investments. Like that's great for me. I think that's like, I saw that. I'm like, man, I wish I had thought of this thought earlier. I would have like tried to jump on that card, right? I really think Dynasty could have a chance here, because if you look at other sports with a fresh start, look at F1. The big boy F1 cards is actually not the Sapphire or the Refractor. It's the Topps Dynasty. Like you look at the Topps Dynasty Lewis Hamilton RPA, that thing is like 6 figures or whatever it goes for. I don't think I've even seen one on eBay, but I've seen private transactions on IG talk about the card. I just picked it up and it was like, I don't know, 6 figures. Like those are big boy cards. So I don't see why Topps Dynasty couldn't have the same effect on baseball. Now it's just hobby logic from here on in. It's whether the baseball crowd will actually accept Dynasty as like the next big boy, right? So I think there's a chance. Going forward, 2022, 2023, who knows if if Fanatics buys Panini, game over, because they're getting Flawless into baseball and NT into baseball, so it's not going to happen. But in terms of like Vladdy rookies, Tatis rookies, Luis Robert rookies, like anything, when did Dynasty come out? 2017 or 2018? Or 2019? I don't even know. But I think those years, it really has a chance to stand up as like some big boy cards. So yeah, Topps Dynasty. Want to bring it up in some earlier shows, but
we would never talk about Topps Dynasty, right?
I know. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but I just couldn't. It didn't fit into anything I wanted to talk about. So
that's awesome,
Johnny. I'm sold, man. I was like, while you're talking, I'm like on eBay looking at Topps Dynasty patch autos.
Dude, they're beautiful, man. The patch autos are like they're nice. Yeah. They're really nice. Eye appeal. It's all there, so I don't see why not.
Let's get some, and then we'll just pump it up on our show week after week. Topps Dynasty is the best. All right. Okay, well, we'll end the show with my pick one pair. My pick one hot takes. First one is LeBron James Topps Chrome rookie card, PSA 10, the rookie card for many. Will hit sub 10K. And you got to remember, like, when the hobby was at its height this past January or last January and February, some people were thinking that it's going to hit 50K. Now it's about 11, 12K on average. Okay. So will it go under 10K? Or, again, I'm going to bring Luka Doncic Silver Prizm rookie card. That was going for 7-8 at one point. I think it sold yesterday for 2,800. Will it hit sub 2K? So which is more likely? Both iconic cards, I think, in my opinion. With the LeBron James Topps Chrome, which is a base card, but the PSA 10 go under 10K, or you think Luka Doncic's Silver Prizm rookie will go under 2K?
Last week you said the Silver Prizm of Doncic was pop 2000 around.
Yep,
somewhere around. So they're around the same, because I think around that's what the Topps Chrome. I think the LeBron James Topps Chrome cannot sustain. Or it will fall below 10K. I think there's gonna be support probably around 8. I could be totally wrong. It could probably be more, maybe not. But I think $2,000 is a lot more easier to find resistance than 10,000. And for me, it's like I could see a little more volatility just based on that price. And I could see that happening pretty soon, to be honest. I think basketball in the offseason, you might find a LeBron James. It might happen, this next month, the next couple months. And I think Luka's, I think I'm a buyer at 2,000. I don't think I'm a buyer at 10,000 for LeBron Topps Chrome. But a $2,000 silver, yeah, I think I'm in. So I'm gonna say Luka silver, or sorry, Topps Chrome. LeBron falls below 10K before the Luka Silver falls below 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Read my mind completely. I think the LeBron James will fall first, and it has nothing to do with his play and his status as a GOAT. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the amount of clients and people that have the ability to purchase at 5K is such a different number than people who can afford something 2,000 or less. And they're both floors. Clearly, it's a round number. I think 10,000 is certainly a floor in terms of like investment value for 2,000 and 10,000 respectively are both floors. So we'll see which one kind of tests the waters. But $1,900 for Luka Silver, I think there's gonna be so many buyers at that price point. Versus, LeBron James going to like 9,700, 9,500. I still think that's I think it's still long term. It's a great buy, and it's probably a great number. But who has, there aren't many regular Joes out there that can just spend 9,500 US on a whim. So I think it's just gonna be so much tougher for that card if both are falling, let's say, at the same rate of the market. It's just going to be such a harder price point to hold than the Luka at 2,000. So, yeah, I'm picking the LeBron first.
All right. Damn, I thought I could get you with pumping LeBron.
Not Johnny.
I know.
Damn, I should have known. Yeah, that's a throwaway vote right there.
Oh, come on, man. I'm a hater, but I'll still appreciate the investment.
I'm gonna think of a 1v1 where he obviously has to choose LeBron. LeBron is better than DeMar DeRozan, or
I don't know, this year.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sweep for the same reasons. But the fact that LeBron was at 30K at one point, or hitting
that's
30K,
crazy. Yeah,
and you look at it now, that's a huge price drop. And then some people might factor in the LeBron is arguably playing much better than Luka, although he's been injured. But in terms of stats, like LeBron is top 3 scoring.
He's playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, crazy, right? And Luka's still, I looked at Luka's stats last game, which is a couple days ago, triple-double. So I think he's kind of back.
It's a normal day for him.
Yeah, it's like 14 rebounds, 14 assists, and 22 points. I'm like, okay, I'm investing in Luka still. I hope people are still sleeping on Luka, because
I hope so too, man.
Seems like a lot of people are. But I could see LeBron going under 10K. More than Luka going under 2K. All right, another fun show, guys. Thanks again to all of our subscribers of the show. And if you're a first-time listener and you enjoyed the show, we appreciate if you give us a 5-star rating. And if you subscribe, you'll get a notification every time a new episode drops, which is on Tuesdays. Plus, you can also follow us on Instagram at Cards to the Moon, where you can DM us any questions you have for us. All right, thanks again. We'll see you again next week. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.